greetings. Have you ever met a serial entrepreneur who keep doing things after one thing and another thing and another thing? And most of the things they touch on, they found some key success principles, how they create a success, and now they actually follow the same blueprint on even next, latest and greatest thing. It could be, in fact, any industry, does not really matter, because its key success principles of running a business is very similar, the same thing, except few hiccups we all learn from our industry to industry. So you are on this show, and a great treat for you, because our guest is going to spill some beans which you may not have heard it anywhere else. In case you don't know me, my name is Mohammed Siddique. I'm the host of Growth Hacking Show from Atlanta, Georgia, where we bring CEOs, founders, serial entrepreneurs, and even entrepreneurs to share their success secrets and what kind of mistakes they have done, so you can learn from it. So for that purpose, please join me to welcome my very special guest, Michael Queralt from Caumike. He is the founder of Caumike. Michael, welcome.
Thank you, Mohammed. It's like, I look forward to it.
Michael, let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to become a serial entrepreneur and keep going?
So my story starts really around 2004. It's like we were tracking certain technology, which was all related to sensor technology. And two of my friends, John and Dave, is like we got together and we were looking at what to do next. It's like we had come out of the system integration side of the business, and we had been running either operations, services, or management on those businesses. So we were trying to figure out what to do next. We wanted to do something that was really impactful, and that we wanted to see how we could really start our own business. We thought that we had an idea and we could do that. So that's really how we started. It's like we started around that time. It's like we launched the company's name is Queralt, and that was my entry point into entrepreneurship. Until then, I had always been working for somebody else.
That is great. So based on your working on multiple ventures for a long time, I would say over a decade now, what are the top 3 success secrets they are required to grow someone's business?
So that's a great point. And I think that one of the big things is really you have to know your customers. I think that knowing your customers becomes critical. And both on the advisory and some of the new startups that I'm involved with right now, as you can see on my profile, the first conversation with everybody has really become like, who is your customer? Do you know who your customer is? It's not about the technology, and it's not as much right now about the product. I want to know, it's like, do you really understand your customer? And when I talk about the customer, I really ask them to come up with even to name the customer. So, for example, this is Mary. Mary has an iPad and she works at this location and this is what she does. I think that you have to be intimate with the customer. Knowing that customer becomes critical for both your product, for understanding what the value that you provide to them, and also to understand how do you get into their supply chain? How do you sell that product to that customer? So to me, that's really becomes the first, or the most critical point behind it. The second point, I think, through the experience has been the team. I think that the team is really, really important, how you bring that team together of the founders or what your network is. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's like you really are faced with, like, there are times that you feel totally alone, and you have to look at a team that really fills your weaknesses. And you have to recognize what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are. And I think that if you have a complementary team, it's like it will help each other out. And we did that a lot at Queralt, and we're doing it a lot on the current companies that I'm at Caumike as the other one. I try to put teams that are not only similar in culture, but also that we have strengths, and that we cover each other's weaknesses more than anything else. And the third is really understanding what the value is, and to me is understand. It goes back to the customer. If you know your customer and you know your product and you can define the value proposition quickly, now you have something that can be really be tested and really be taken out to market. So those are the three things that I'm looking at.
Very well said. So know your customers, like in the banking, say the KYC, know your customer, and
Yes.
so know their challenges and pain points, because your product or service is going to solve those pain points. And having a great team, in fact, way smarter than you. So you don't need to be smartest person in the room. So your team.
It's all about the team. I don't think that entrepreneurship is not it's not a single event. I think that it's really all a teamwork.
Definitely, and understanding the value that you're going to bring it to your customers, so they have a very clearly established USP value for you. Wonderful. That's amazing things, great secrets we got from you. But however, now we want to learn what not to do. So what are the top 3 success like missteps people do in their business to grow that hurts them? We want to make sure we don't do it. Based on your experience, what are the top 3 missteps to avoid to grow your business?
So one of the missteps that we made, and I try to avoid now, is really, I think that going back to the team, I think that the team has to be together, or you have to really leverage the tools so that they are really in constant contact, and not just on regular meetings or scheduled meetings, but really it's the conversations around the meetings, around the water cooler, that are important, because you get to know not only the person, but also you get to hear some of the challenges that everybody's facing and how do you bring them together. So I think that I'm getting better. I'm improving on how to work with remote teams and everything else. But I think that it is important and early on to make sure that you're very, very close and tight to the team. So having them all together into one place is really my suggestion. The second part is like, don't get caught up by early success. It's like, I think that it is easy to say, you get your first sale and you're thinking it's like, oh, this is perfect. It's like, I just found product market fit and I'm going to now, this is it. It's like, I have my first customer. And no, I think that you have to take that first customer and you have to learn from it. And you have to really understand what's repeatable, what's the value, and really use it as a learning experience. Don't think that all of the customers are the same. Don't think that the process is going to be the same. So you really have to learn from that. And I think that people, we did that, is in the sense, I think that we took some of those early customers for granted. And the third thing that I would say for an entrepreneur is like, you also have to take time to enjoy the wins. It's like, you have to really, as you reach some achievements, whatever they may be, maybe your first few customers, it may be your first location, whatever that may be, it is important to take time and enjoy it and appreciate it, because you have to appreciate that journey. Otherwise, it really can become a very difficult process and challenging process then. And then you look back in time and say, yeah, it's like I think that I achieved this, but I did not enjoy it. And you really should enjoy the journey. So that would be my suggestions. Yeah,
success is a journey, it's not a destination.
That's a great point. That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So it's great. So how Caumike is growing right now?
Yeah, so right now from Caumike is like, we have 2 companies that we're ready to launch. One of them is on the healthcare side, and there we're focusing on a medical wallet that we're bringing both identity and information sharing in a very safe environment for mobile devices. So that one, we have been doing product development and we have been testing it into the market. So we're starting to move forward on launching that product. And the second product is close to my heart. It's like, I think that maybe my fourth success would be passion. It's really about passion. So my second company is around coffee. It's like how to bring governance and provenance into the coffee beans, into the coffee market, So it has a social mission, but it's all related to a product that I enjoy, a market that I know a lot as a consumer, but really a market that allows me to use my technology knowledge on sensors, AI, and blockchain to bring it to market. So I'm looking forward to both of those.
That's a $468 billion industry. So that's.
I just found out that coffee is the second largest traded commodity in the world behind oil. But I think that it's, to me, is more, has a social impact. I think we're looking to link the growers directly to the consumer. We think that there's like an economic value to it. And it also allows me to use all of the technologies that I have been working with. So that's where the passion comes.
Wonderful, wonderful. So how Growth Hacking Show community can support you?
We're always looking for ideas. We're looking for ways of growing faster. We're looking for ways of learning. I think that really becomes the biggest thing. I think the understanding of how can you launch a product and really use some viral techniques to be able to get the name out and to be able to get the adoption out there. So that's always very important to me. And I think that it's like entrepreneurship, you said it, it's the journey is one that you learn from what people are doing, how are they doing it, what works, what doesn't work, what to avoid, and what to try different. So definitely would welcome an opportunity to be able to share with anyone. There's like the 2 companies that we're launching and get some feedback and get some early adopters too. So.
Wonderful. Before we wrap up, I just happened to think about one question. So as you know, you are a serial entrepreneur, and growing a company or running from business A to business B to business C is like a roller coaster. Is that right?
It is. It is.
So in a roller coaster, when you feel down, how you keep going? What makes you to keep going?
So my family keeps me going, but really, I enjoy it. I get involved in projects that really have meaning to me. It's like I think that really becomes the most important thing. A very good friend of mine is like, his name is Sean. It's like he's a friend, an investor, a mentor. It's like he always said it. It's like, look, it's like I think that you can always make money. It's like you will always find ways of making money. You can, but the key is really like you have to find something that you enjoy and that you can really embrace. Because when it's a downtime, those downtimes are really, really challenging. I think that everybody knows it, and I think that it's difficult to admit to those. And it's difficult to find the support. So you really have to look inside and say, look, I'm doing it for this reason. This is why it's important to me. So that's what I look at. I'm not, it's not to get the next funding round. It's not to do this. It's really to launch a company that's successful and has an impact in the world. So.
Yeah, so lesson is do something which has a meaning attached to it. You are passionate about it. That way you will keep going. And also people say that you always ask this question. Whenever you feel like quitting it, like when you're down, oh my God, I may not be able to continue. That's the kind of feeling. You say, I always ask this question, why I started this one at the first place. So that will remind you everything else. You know?
And it's a great point. And I think that's a question that I think that you have to. That's why if it's your passion, it's an easy one to answer. If it's difficult to answer, then that may not be the right venture for you or the right path for you at that given time.
Wonderful, Michael. Wonderful. As we are about to wrap up, what would you say as a final word?
Look, I enjoyed it. I think that there is one thing. I think that the part that words of wisdom is like to really have, if you're embracing this or if you're going into this journey, whatever the journey may take you, it's like really appreciate the journey and appreciate the moments and appreciate the people that you will find through the journey, because it can be really, really rewarding, personally, financially, in many different ways. But I think that you have to stop and enjoy or smell the roses more than anything else. I would really encourage everybody to do that, because I think that then the journey becomes easier.
Thank you so much, Michael, for sharing your wisdom with us today. On the behalf of Growth Hacking Show community and our entire team, we really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Wishing you good luck, good sales, and I do have a path across again with another amazing guest. Until then, all best wishes.
Thank you.